There are moments in life when the world seems to split in two, who you were before, and who you're forced to become after. For Mara Collins, that moment happened in the middle of a bustling mall cafe in Chicago, with the clatter of plates and the hum of strangers' conversations echoing around her. One second she was smiling, hopeful, believing the man she loved was about to take the next step with her. The next, she sat frozen as he pushed his chair back, looked her over with cold detachment, and said he needed someone who took better care of themselves. His words cut deeper than a knife, slicing into the most tender part of her heart. Before she could even breathe, he walked away, leaving her alone, tears spilling down her cheeks while the world continued as if nothing had cracked open inside her. If you believe everyone deserves kindness, compassion, and a second chance in life, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. Mara stayed at the table long after he was gone, staring at the empty chair across from her, feeling as though she'd been abandoned in more ways than one. She had always known her size made people judge her, but she never thought the man she loved, Austin, would humiliate her so publicly. She tried to swallow her sobs, but her chest tightened and her vision blurred. A waitress hovered nearby, unsure whether to approach or give her space. Mara finally stood, clutching her purse, determined not to fall apart in front of more strangers. She walked outside into the cool afternoon air, feeling as though she was drifting without gravity. Over the next few weeks, Mara slipped into a routine of silence and avoidance. She stopped going out with friends, ignored invitations, and buried herself in her accounting job. At night she'd replay that moment in the cafe, hearing Austin's voice over and over until it drowned her in self-doubt. She had always been soft-spoken, gentle, someone who loved deeply. But now she felt invisible, except for the cruel spotlight of the world's judgment. Months passed before she dared step back into that mall again. But life has a strange way of guiding people to the very places they need to return to. Mara had stopped in the cafe on her lunch break, forcing herself to reclaim that small piece of her life. The world looked the same as it had that awful day, yet somehow she was different. She carried her pain with her, but she also carried the strength of having survived it. That afternoon, fate took a quiet, unexpected step toward her. As she gathered her things to leave, a small boy, no older than 6, came running through the cafe, chasing a toy car that skittered across the floor. He tripped right near Mara's table. Without thinking, she rushed to him, helping him sit up gently. His bright brown eyes glistened more with surprise than pain. A moment later, a man hurried over, tall, strong, with tired eyes and a warm expression. He thanked her breathlessly, kneeling beside the boy, introducing himself as Adam Lawson, and explaining that his son, Caleb, liked to escape at the speed of light when excited. Mara smiled, genuinely, for the first time in a long while. Adam, still catching his breath, asked if she was okay too. He said her face looked like someone who'd had a long day. Somehow, those few words cracked something inside her, not in a painful way, but in a way that let air into rooms she had kept locked. She didn't tell him everything, but she told him enough. He listened quietly. Not judging. Not pitying. Just listening. That day became the start of something neither of them realized would reshape their lives. Over the next few weeks, Mara found herself visiting the cafe more often, not because she was reclaiming her space anymore, but because she'd occasionally run into Adam and Caleb. The little boy quickly grew attached to her, always waving excitedly when he saw her. And Adam, he looked at her differently than any man ever had. Not past her, not through her, not assessing her size, just seeing her. He asked questions that made her feel valued, and he shared stories about raising Caleb alone after losing his wife to illness. He had grief etched into him, but he also had a softness that made Mara feel safe. For the first time since the breakup, she found herself laughing. Not the polite kind, real laughter, the kind that lived in her belly and lifted her chest. Adam would sometimes stop mid-sentence, watching her with a gentle awe. He'd tell her she had a way of brightening a room, even when she didn't notice it. Mara didn't believe him at first. But slowly, very slowly, she began to. As weeks turned into months, Mara found that the world didn't look as dark as it had. She still carried scars from Austin's cruelty, but they no longer defined her. Being around Adam and Caleb reminded her that love wasn't measured by appearance, but by presence, sincerity, and kindness. One Saturday afternoon, Adam invited her to join them at the Lincoln Park Zoo. Caleb refused to let go of her hand, tugging her around with excited enthusiasm. Watching Adam laugh, watching Caleb beam, Mara felt something warm and unfamiliar, hope. And maybe, the beginnings of love. On the way back, Adam paused as they walked along the lake. The breeze carried the scent of the water and the fading warmth of the sun. He turned toward her, expression earnest, and told her he admired her strength, her compassion, her heart. He said she made him believe in healing again. Mara felt tears gather, not from pain this time, but from the realization that she had been seen, truly seen, by someone who valued her soul. Then, with Caleb leaning sleepily against him, Adam said something she would never forget, that love isn't about perfection, it's about choosing someone every day because they bring light into your world. And in that moment, Mara realized that her story had not ended in that cafe months ago. It had only just begun. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe so more people can experience these emotional journeys with us. Your support means everything. Before you go, tell us in the comments, have you ever had someone walk into your life right when you needed them most?